From the beautiful campus of Casper College, it's the T-Birds Coaches Show, bringing you game breakdowns, expert analysis, and exclusive interviews. Here's your host, Tom Myler.
Hello, T-Bird fans, and welcome back to another great Coaches Show. Joining us here in studio, Coach Eamon Bennett, and boy, do we have a show today.
We do, I hope so. Thanks for having us.
We have a great one because, man, this last weekend, I'll just give you a little teaser. 18 goals scored in 2 games. That's it's not realistic usually in soccer.
Probably. I think that totals a game record. It's not a game record for goals individually in a game, but it was good to get out there and everybody playing and have an opportunity to go out and do something like that. It's pretty rare.
Yeah, just watching it, being there with live stream, having you guys at home. All those things lined up. It just made for a fantastic weekend. And luckily for you, you didn't manage. So yes, it rained Saturday, but you didn't get the deluge of rain.
Yeah.
You managed to miss that one out.
We
You
did.
gave that to the men, which with the men, we'll talk a little bit about how they just got wet, soaked through, and then it stopped and just got cold, and that's never fun.
Yep.
Wet and cold and soccer, getting hit, that's not fun. But anyway, so let's start with that first game. You played Lamar that first one. You end up winning 8-0. You go to the Mercy rule, which was first year that has been instated.
Right.
So the game ends about 10 minutes early. I guess let's start with the obvious. What did you like about that match?
Well, again, we got everybody out there to play. The challenge with Lamar is, by nature, we end up forcing all of their players closer to the goal, and it's harder to score. We were a little bit incorrect in our thought in the first. I think it was 3-0 at half.
Yep.
Once we started getting around it, or not trying to play through the middle initially, then it kind of opened up. But good finishes, and we liked what we were doing on our set pieces, on our corner kicks. So that's always a big thing. But more than anything, the game provided our players a chance to be confident. And again, getting lots of players out in the game. Taylor Miller had a hat trick in the game, which was only the second time that's ever happened here. Tied to Sydney Hyatt, who played here several years ago.
At least 5. She was one of that OG squad, right?
So yeah, those are good things. Tania White had a great game. Again with assists and goal. I think Kennedy Henley had a goal off of a header right at the beginning of the game. So those are all good positive things. But just got to work on some things and just have some fun, gain some confidence back. Were probably the biggest things that we take away from that game.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned confidence, because the one thing we've been talking about here in the studio all season has been finishing inside the box, because that's been something that you get up, you have the great build up, and then it just kind of stalls out. But yeah, with that confidence, like, oh, hey, we can have some nice passes. And there were some great passes those 2 games that you were able to make some movement, great overlaps, and just create, space to have that confidence to take a shot.
Yeah, and Lamar's gone through a coaching change, and they're down a little bit from some numbers, and they had they had a long trip up. They got screwed up on a bus trip, so there was a lot of things coming in for them not in their favor, and quite simply, we took advantage of that, which is what you're supposed to do. But their goalkeeper on their team made some fantastic saves throughout the game, and she was peppered pretty good with a lot of shots, but she made some good saves, and so we hope that they continue to get better and improve. It's better for the league, but yeah, we were able to do a lot of things, and I will say a lot of the things we practice and we work on, we were able to implement that in the game, which is what you want to see. Not just go out there, we can do whatever we want because we can. Let's actually go out and let's work, and let's play the game how we practiced it. So that was a good thing for us.
Yeah, there's always that kind of subconscious thoughts like, oh, well, we're better this team, we're just going to do what we want,
right,
not do our thing. And then that's what ends up biting you, because any team in this league, right, can end up beating another team. But it's if you're continually staying, I guess, if you can are consistent in how you're playing when you play the not as great teams versus those really tough teams. That's what's going to be the difference.
You know, we played Lamar our very first game of the year, which would count as a non-conference game, and I think it was 6-0 in that game. I think it was 4-0 at halftime, and we scored 2 goals in that game late. But Lamar in that game, I think, had 4 or 5 scoring opportunities where this last game they didn't. Again, long bus trip, a lot of things not in their favor, but we were very cautious to tell the players, do not approach this game as just because we played them before, and that's what happened. Everybody improves, everybody makes adjustments. The question is, have we improved? Are we better? Are we doing things differently? And I think that question for us was answered, that we had improved quite a bit, and so we were pleased with that.
I definitely agree with that one. It was a great time to watch, very enjoying. I mean, we had that hat trick from Taylor Miller, which we'll talk more about her with the NJC game. But yeah, just overall, I think your team is on the up and up. Things are coming together.
Yeah,
They're really buying into what you're coaching and preaching. I think we're getting there.
We're getting there.
But the season's not over yet.
Nope.
So let's talk about this NJC game. And they have another idea. We're going to bring up Taylor Miller right away. 3 records, 1 player, 17 goals in a career, 13 in a season, 4 goals in a game.
Right.
3 records broken in 1 game. And did you have that kind of in the back of your mind? Is that what you put her in later in the match?
Not okay. We knew that she was getting close to some of those things. When she scored 3, we were pulling her out. We were just like, okay, you're done. And we were getting near the end of the game, and it wasn't that any of our players were tired, and we just decided, you know what, let's put her out there in this last. I think there was like 2 or 3 minutes left. Let's see what happens. And she scored the 4th goal, and we just said, okay, you're coming out, you know. But part of that was, if that's on her mind or our mind, let's see if we can't just get that out of the way, so now we can go into the last 2 games and continue to work on what we're practicing. We weren't trying to show anybody up or anything on that, but it's a unique opportunity. I think that you got to give that kid her due, and she's a fantastic player. And you know, she'd sprained her ankle a couple of weeks ago, and the previous games before, she was kind of hobbling around at Gillette. She got kneed in the quad and had a dead leg a lot of that game. And so she's feeling good, and it helped with her confidence too, I think, which we need. You know, goal scoring is a confidence thing. If you're not confident in front of the goal and trying to score, you're going to miss. You're going to hit the keeper. You're just not going to do anything right. And we saw some good confidence out of her. All of the goals were really, really good goals for her. They were placed well, and that's what you want to see. And again, the NJC keeper was a pretty solid keeper. I think they switched keepers in the game, but they had some players that were dangerous. I think their style opened up the pitch a little bit more for us, and that involves a lot of players. In fact, you know, Tania White is, I think that she is 1 assist away from the season assist. I think she has 7 right now. So one more, and she will break that record. And she's got a chance to be at 10 goals, 10 assists, which we challenged her at the beginning of the year. Go and do that, and those next level schools are going to be very, very interested in a kid that's doing that. Both Taylor and Tania are ranked, I think, in the top 10 in the nation in those categories. So they're both doing really, really well, and they're finding that connection. We've moved them around a little bit, and we think we found a connection that really, really works and where they're playing. So overall, though, great atmosphere for our girls. You know, scoring goals is great, but I think that they were confident and having fun, and so it ends up being a really, really good result for us that way.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Taylor Miller. You bring up Tania White. She's really coming to her own. She's playing physical and fast, which, I mean, has made a huge difference, especially down in the attacking third. And, I mean, really goals scored. Yes, you have Miller scoring 4 or 3 a game, but you still have, I mean, Salam Vinegar scored against Lamar, which was a top shelf banger. Just holy smoke, she rocketed that one in there. Lily Brimley against NJC, that one was just awesome because it's from 40 yards out, just over the top of the keeper. And again, this goals by committee, it's really fun to watch all these players getting that confidence.
You know, Salam Beniger is a player who, she might not have a lot of stats at the end of the year, but she's just fantastic in the middle, just so smart, you know, so technical. Kennedy Henley, who's center back, has 4 goals on the year from the center back spot.
And I imagine at least 3 of those were from headers.
Right, and it's a huge weapon that we've been starting to emphasize just a little bit more, and we'll continue to work on, you know, as the season comes along. But yeah, I mean, certain players trying to find certain players, and the team all together on that. And yeah, and other girls get a chance. Brecklin Archibald had a great goal.
Yeah.
You know, Kelsey Woodbury scored a goal. People involved in doing things and making great passes. We're emphasizing before the game, hey, get an assist. You know, in other words, involve a teammate. 11 players beat 1 player every time, as far as it's a philosophy that I have. And so what that means is involve your teammates. Don't, you know, great, somebody's got to score, somebody has the ball a little bit more, somebody shows up in the stats more, but it's because their teammate helped them. So I think as long as we have that attitude, we're a very, very good team that way.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a joke Coach MacArthur told on the stream about, well, the joke is, how do you score in soccer? Well, you beat 11 players. And,
right.
You know, for me, I was like, well, I thought you just put it in the back end of the net. But, I mean, I guess you're going to put it in the back of the net if you beat 11 players. So I like that thought. You definitely did that Friday, Saturday.
And it was good for us. And so good for them on sophomore day to go out there. And, you know, we were able to even Gracie Dennis the last couple of games as well. I forget. I mean, there's lots of players step. Jessie Murray had a great game. And so some kids are stepping up right at the right time to challenges us coaches as far as, okay, we have multiple groups that now we feel like can go out there and have some confidence, and that helps the team. Going forward, as long as everybody maintains that, I'm going to do my job for the team, then we'll be okay.
Absolutely. So that kind of brings us into the standings for Region 9 playoffs. Right now you're sitting solidly at second, right behind Western Wyoming. You're behind them by about 2 points just because you've got that extra tie. They don't. LCCC dropped one, which was kind of surprising to see, against Northwest. And so they're sitting at third, but Northwest and LCCC will play this weekend, and that will be kind of the one to watch, or kind of determine really if you win out where you're seated.
Right. I mean, if we're only worried about what we're going to do. You know, we want to win our last 2 games. I mean, there's scenarios where we could be 1, 2, or 3. And whatever that happens to be, that's what we'll go with. We feel like we're improving each match and each practice, and that's a good thing. That a month ago we weren't playing, or that was as good as we could get a month ago, and we knew that not to be the case. And so we try to simplify things, let them play. Remove some things, but continue to add simple ideas. And if they continue to improve on that, then we're moving in the right direction. But yeah, I mean, if Laramie and Western Wyoming play each other, you know, if Western Wyoming wins that game, regardless of what we would do, they would be the number 1 seed. We would go to 2. If Laramie beats them, then they'd both have a loss. We wouldn't, and if we went out, I think we'd have 1 point over both of them. Either way, I'm not really worried about that. We don't care. We're only worried about what we're going to do.
Well, and it all comes down to this: if you win out, right? So
and that's what we want. We just want to win out, and then wherever it ends up being, that's what we'll go with.
Absolutely. You still got to play soccer no matter what, whether you're 1, 2, or 3 seed. And so with that, you will head down, travel. Sorry, folks, they're not here once again, but, you know, it is what it is. You go and play Trinidad on Friday, 1 o'clock on 1 o'clock game. And then on Saturday, go and play a 5 o'clock game against Otero. So let's start with the Trinidad game. What can we expect with that one?
Well, Trinidad's been down all year. Again, coach left last minute. It should be a game that we should be able to, again, work on the things that we practiced, do those things, and hopefully we take care of the win. We've seen some film. They struggle in a lot of ways, but you still have to go down and you still have to do. We want to do the things that we're working on, regardless of who we're playing. Yeah, a better team is going to disrupt what you're trying to do. It doesn't mean you go away from it. A team that might be down, you still got to work on those things, and not just go in there and do whatever you want because you can. That's not going to help you the next day when we have to play an Otero who's going to be a very different opponent. And so we got to just prepare the right way mentally and how we play the game to make sure that we're able to take both of those.
So what are you going to have your team focus on the most? So we've talked a lot about the finishing aspect. We talked now about passing and making sure you're working the 11v1. What's kind of like, hey, you got Trinidad Otero, this is what you got to do to finish out the season?
It's all situational, depending on what they're doing. If they're compact inside, getting around them, connecting with a teammate. Don't turn it into a 1v1 game. Let's turn it into a 2 versus 1 game. So in other words, me and you are playing together and we're going at one player. How do us two beat that one player better? And so stuff like that, making simple passes, making better runs, and continuing to finish. Take shots when you need to, pass when you need to. Don't overcomplicate it, but don't make it more difficult. Don't try to shove something down their throats when going around it is easier. So just little simple things like that for Trinidad. Otero is going to be a narrower field, so just watching our spacing and connecting and playing on turf. So you go from a grass field. Trinidad's field tends to be a little bit bumpier, a little bit longer grass. So you have two very different dynamics in the field. And so again, winning the games in two different ways, but connecting with your teammates is going to be paramount to us.
So a thought came to my mind when you talked about connecting 2v1 and having these different situations. Situational awareness and how do you find the open teammate? When do you pass? When do you just take the shot? How do you try and emulate this or recreate this in practice?
So we do a lot of possession type games that involve a lot of two-touch soccer. Ball's coming to me. I'm looking around. I already know where I'm going to go. I get a clean touch, and then I'm passing that ball and moving to a space, not overcrowding each other. One of the things that we work on constantly is whoever our midfielders are. And sometimes we play with 2 6s, which are more of a defensive look. Sometimes we play with a pivot 8, which is more of an offensive look. But those two in the middle are key to not getting on top of each other and finding the right space. There are distributors. There are win the ball distributor type. So, getting wide, going to space, it's just really simple things like that to connect with the teammates. So our practices revolve around a lot of that idea. And in practice are great. Games are different. I get it. There's another team disrupting you, but you still have to attempt to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Better things will happen if you're trying to do the right thing rather than I'm just going to go get mine. I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to dribble, those type of things. When you can, doesn't mean you should.
Right. And if you've practiced that, you should have in the back of your mind, okay, this is the kind of offense we run. I should have someone there or there.
Right.
And if I have someone pressuring me, I should have an outlet there or there. And so
Right.
that just comes down with practice, right?
Yeah, and we look at the film. We'll go back and look at the film. The players can say, wow, I don't know what I was thinking there. Or wow, that was really good. Let's keep doing that. So there's two aspects to that. I mean, we want to keep doing the things that are right, but you have to look at things that maybe weren't as good, and at what can we do to prevent that or be better at it.
Absolutely. So I have a very important final question here for you, Coach. So I think it was about last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, I noticed that you and your team had an Adam Sandler day.
We did.
And it looks like you might have won that.
Well, I claim the victory.
Oh, you claimed the victory. To give you an idea, folks, he was wearing cowboy boots, a very long black T-shirt and shorts. Yep, definitely a lovely image there. Tell us a little bit more.
Okay, so the players, and they've done a great job with doing just little team activity things, and they had kind of done things all that week, and the last day of the week was Adam Sandler Day. And if you look up, just Google Adam Sandler and how he dresses, he kind of dresses kind of weird, different, whatever, slob. I don't know what you would call it.
Homeless.
But yes, thank you. The reason I won is the back of that shirt said Adams on it. So I was in the thrift store and found that. Said, "Oh, that's got to be the winner." It's there you go. So, but we all dressed. It was pretty hilarious to go out there and then, of course, trying to practice that way was very interesting. You know, we kind of told them, "Hey, all right, you can come out like this, but let's kind of take that off so we can get serious." But I don't know that really worked that day, but it was fun.
Hey, you got to keep things interesting, right? And make sure to have, those little bonding moments, and just soccer's fun. You know, it can get a little not necessarily repetitive or boring. Just, that's a lot of soccer, and you got to give them a break once in a while. Just have some fun.
The best part then, was getting out of my truck and walking into the gas station to get a drink before the game, and
oh boy,
and as I walked outside, there were several people that gave me a $1 bill saying, "Hey, I hope you're doing well." No, I'm just kidding.
Very nice.
Homeless at Casper Colleges.
I like it.
It was fun.
Well, it's always good to hear that, one, you're improving, you're winning, and having fun doing it.
We're getting there.
So, well, you heard it, folks. Friday, Trinidad. Saturday, Otero. Fortunately, you're not here, but if we can continue to win out, you'll be back here with the Region 9 playoffs.
There we go.
But until then, folks, we will see you next time.